There's a saying that's, I think, attributed to Confucius, which goes something along the lines of a healthy man has 1,000 wishes and a sick man only has one. It's a pretty famous saying that most people have heard, or they've heard some variation of it. And it's something I was thinking about recently because I experienced it firsthand, and I've experienced it in the past, but I realize it's one of those things that you can conceptually talk about it, but if you don't make it real for yourself, then you forget about it until you experience it firsthand again, like I did. And what was interesting to me was the fact that I got sick a couple weeks ago, and it wasn't terrible, but it was annoying enough that it was disrupting my sleep, which is already really bad, and delaying my uh, interfering with my ability to work out and to get the things done that I needed to get done, which realistically a lot of that was excuses. I wasn't so far gone that I couldn't do any of those things, but I had a massive mental resistance to doing them because how I was feeling. And I realized then how important health is and how much you don't take advantage of it. And so this lesson popped up in my head. But the reason it popped up again so strongly right now is when I felt better a few weeks ago, I was going to write down what I was feeling, write down what I went through, and how different it felt once I came out of it. And I told myself I was gonna write down the differences of how I felt and then review it every day so that I would remember to appreciate my health when I had it and to appreciate feeling good and to appreciate the time that I had when I felt good so that I would take advantage of it and not, at the very least, not squander it. But I didn't end up doing that because once I felt better, I had it on my list, but I found excuses to not do it. I kept thinking, oh, I'll do it later, as we tend to do. I kept thinking, I'll get into it a little bit in a couple days, or I'd do it later that day, and then I would end up going out with friends, or I would end up watching TV, just something, nothing super productive. That's the thing. I wasn't choosing to do something more productive or something else that I wanted to do that would move me forward. I was just being lazy and just being avoidant. And it's ironic that I put that off long enough that I started to feel sick again today. And I'm hoping that it's not anything major or it's not as bad as last time. I think it might just be fatigue. But it made it very clear to me earlier today that how true that saying is and how important it is to remind yourself of it, not just when you're sick or when you're not feeling well, but to remind yourself the most important time to remember it is when you're feeling good, when you're feeling healthy, because that's when it matters. That's when you have to remind yourself that you want so many different things when you feel good, when you feel fine, and then you get sick and you realize the only thing that really matters is your health. And then when you have your health, um, you should do everything. You should do everything that you can to move your life forward. And a point that I missed earlier is that when I started to feel sick, I felt very frustrated because now I felt like I couldn't do the things that I know I should have been doing that entire time. Like I should have been working out more regularly. I should have been saving money by not going out all the time. I should have been using my health to make progress toward my goals. And since my health was gone in that moment or underperforming or whatever it was, I started to realize how important my health actually was. And then when I got better, I didn't really start doing those things. So that became very excuse me, abundantly clear to me this second time around when I didn't feel great today, and it all kind of came back to me. I was like, I had a few weeks where I felt fine, and I don't feel like I made enough progress, and now I'm starting to get sick again. So it's almost like it felt ironic to me that I had this realization, and when I did actually feel better, I made excuses to not actually do the things I said I was going to do. And the point of this video is to serve as a reminder that I think that happens to a lot of us. It happens to a lot of people where you think when you're going through something and a bunch of bad things happen all at once, you will you tend to tell yourself like, I'm never going to let this happen again. I'm going to change my habits. I'm going to change my behaviors. I'm going to change what I do day to day. So I'm never in this situation again, whether it's like financial situation, or if you're overweight, or you don't like how you look, or there's a relationship problem, whatever it is. You see a pattern of behavior and you say, I'm never going to let this happen again. But then you find yourself in that situation again. And I think what's important and what's helped me a little bit is that I wrote down how I was feeling when I was unwell, and I kind of wrote a message to myself that you don't have as much time as you think, and I don't mean that in a doom and gloom kind of way, but just in the sense that if you waste all your time, or if you don't spend any of your time making progress, then it goes by very quickly, and then you will feel like you wasted your life. But just in general, it's like there's no time to waste. You can enjoy yourself and make progress in the same day, and not feel like you have to kill yourself to make progress in your life. But there really isn't time to waste. So what I started doing, and what I hope to keep doing, is when I'm in these states, I'm writing down notes to myself, essentially writing a letter, quick and to the point, in terms of what I'm feeling in that moment, what I wish I could be doing that I feel that I can't do, or what I need to do to make my life better. And I write it in that moment, in the present, but it serves as like a letter from my past self to my future self. And what's been helping me is reading it every day. So these letters and these notes that I've been writing to myself, there's one in particular which was very honest and raw and a little bit brutal, but I think necessary given the situation that I've been in for the last couple weeks or months. And I've realized that reading that every morning has helped me make better decisions and help me be more disciplined and push through the pain, and not even the pain, but just the resistance of not wanting to do something. So in summation, I would say that when you're going through a really bad time, you tend to think that you're going to snap out of it once things are better, and you're not going to ever let it happen again. But if you're like me, you've gone through the same shit multiple times. And so I think one solution to that is to, if you're in the bad times right now, then be very honest with yourself and write down exactly what you're feeling. And however you have to write it, if it's a letter to yourself or if it's just notes that you can read, that can put your mind back in that state, or just aware of the state you were in. And you can read that when things are good, so you know which decisions you have to make day to day to avoid being back there again. And if you're not going through something bad, then try to think back to a time that you were, and think about what you were dealing with, what was going through your mind, and write those things down. And because if you can improve ahead of actually going through another bad situation, that's probably the best thing for you. You don't need to go through another bad thing. So get ahead of it and just write down what you felt, what you can remember. And then the most important thing is put it somewhere. And I think you should write it, not type it. But the most important thing after that is having it somewhere where you'll see it every morning, and you take the first 2 or 3 minutes of the morning to read that, and preferably read it out loud, and read how you felt and what it would take to change those things day to day. And it's been helping me set my day up and do the things that I would otherwise be avoiding. And I hope that in the long term, it works. It has enough of an impact that I don't have to deal with these same problems again, or these kind of major problems that have been an issue for most of my life. I'd like to resolve those and move on to something else. But we'll see if it works. I think so far it's been helping. At the end of the day, it does come down to actually doing the work. There's no substitute for that, but I think that that's a good exercise. So when you're going through it, just write down whatever you can and try to look at that every single day and then behave in a way where, you do something that your future self will thank you for. You do something today that your future self will thank you for, so that your future self doesn't have to worry about it. So I hope that works if you do try it, and I hope if you're going through some hard times that you remember, nothing like that will last forever, and it becomes a lot easier to bear the pain of the bad times if you're able to find some meaning in it, and you can make that up entirely. But as long as it makes sense to you, then it can make things a lot better. So don't let bad times go to waste. Just make sure you get something from them, and be sure to take care of your health as much as you can, so that when you are feeling sick, you remember how good you felt, and that puts you in a place where you can appreciate your health when you have it, and use it to make progress to improve your life overall.